Hey, that's the tire. Hey.
Hey. Hey.
Stop. You too. Hey, stop. Psst. Oh, geez. You gotta start the car.
This past November, we took a family trip to South Africa, going on a self-drive safari in Kruger National Park, and closed our trip out with some time in Cape Town, but more on that later. We spent over a week and a half in Kruger National Park, where we had a chance to be our own guides, doing a self-drive safari in one of Southern Africa's most iconic wildlife destinations, made famous for being one of the best places to do a self-drive safari in the entire continent, and well known for great wildlife density and incredible sightings.
Howdy, partner. There's a leopard over there. So, how's the sighting going?
It's great, but it's a little chaotic. Oh, gross.
Is it a leg?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was alive recently.
Unique on this trip, we did a self-drive, which means this time around, we were the guides, driving ourselves around every day in our own 4x4, using our own skills, and a lot of luck in hopes of finding something.
All right, driving, and we came across 3 rhinos in the middle of the road.
Kruger National Park spans almost 5 million acres. One of the largest nature reserves in all of Africa, this area is home to some of Africa's most famous wildlife, providing a great experience of the African bush while also being incredibly approachable to do it yourself.
Good morning. Bye.
Kruger is one of the most popular places to go for a self-drive in Africa, which means the animals are very well accustomed to the vehicles, especially when you're on the tar roads. They're all very unbothered by the trucks and very comfortable walking right past your vehicles. This made managing sightings way more forgiving when being your own guide, where some animals might be skittish, and helped when trying to set yourself up for some great sightings. Occasionally, the animals would even watch you right back, like in the case of this Cape buffalo.
What's the face look like?
Wait, you got Alex Checker?
Yeah. Both valid perspectives.
Doing this trip in Kruger made this DIY safari very approachable. We arrived in Kruger International Airport where we met our bush lore rental contact named Travis, who showed us everything about the truck. After spending just an evening outside of the park, we were in the very next day after just a 2-hour drive with some immediate buffalo and lion sightings.
Matt and Michelle currently hanging out with a very large group of Cape buffalo. All come behind us. It's a very big group. Matt, anything to say about Cape buffalo?
They have very sweet faces and funny hats.
What's so funny is that the birds are also taking baths. Like, they're like, yep, we're all stopping to drink and bathe. And we all move out together.
So by the one of the heads, there's a turtle. You see it? By the one on the right, it just poked his nose.
Oh, yeah.
You see it?
Yes.
He keeps poking them in the nose, and then they get mad.
That's insane.
He's going for the baby.
And to close things out in a really special way on our very first day in the park, we had a chance to come across a large pack of wild dogs. Wild dogs are one of Africa's most endangered predators, and there's a strong chance you won't see them when you go on safari in the bush. They're primarily found in southern African countries, and unlike the big cats, they typically operate off of a home range instead of a more defined territory. This makes them particularly hard to reliably track during drives, and makes your timing and luck all the more important to get a chance to see them.
And day one, what did we say?
We saw wild dogs.
We saw wild dogs. We thought we were going to be late getting out the gate.
We still might be.
Might still be. Successful day one, though. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. It's pretty good.
African wild dogs are some of our favorite things to spot in the bush, and this was a surprising find to come across just minutes before the sun was going down and the gates were about to close.
There's a wild dog right there. There he goes.
You should go do it.
I have to go too. We have to leave.
Here he goes. I'm gonna get you.
Oh.
I'm gonna get you.
That evening, we spent our first night in Crocodile Bridge Rest Camp, an area in the very southern tip of the park. And for our one and only night, we spent an evening camping on the roof of our truck, eating next to our vehicle, sleeping on top of the truck, and getting ready for a very early wake-up the next day at around 4 a.m. before the gates opened.
Awesome. Can't reach the table.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matthew. It's 4 a.m. It's not even 4, it's like 3 something.
We were pretty much up and into the park every morning just as the gates opened and the animals were still clearing the road. Animals are most active in the park in the early mornings and in the late evenings right before the park opens and closes. Undisturbed by cars for the prior night, you often would have a much higher chance of seeing animals closer or sometimes in the middle of the road from the prior evening. This was particularly true for the gravel side roads, also known as the S roads, which saw way less traffic up until later in the day. Animals are also much more active in the mornings while the temperatures were still hanging around the mid-60s before skyrocketing into the hundreds in the middle of the day. During these mornings, you would see animals playing with each other, running around the different roads, and generally having fun before the heat of the day came on. The morning coolness also made the early hours some of the best times to spot lions, where you could spot them in the open areas, hanging out until they went deeper into the bush in search of shade from the rising sun.
Good pose.
Throughout our drives, I was the main driver, while Matt and Michelle were our two dedicated photographers.
It's like a machine gun.
Matt and Michelle both opted into long-range lenses they used throughout the entirety of the trip. And a big part of wildlife photography is thinking about lighting, positioning, and timing. Something you don't appreciate as much when you have a professional guide driving you around, managing the sighting, and something you have to really focus on when you're doing it all yourself. You also have to always be paying attention, so you don't miss the right moment at the very second you need to take the photo.
Did you hear that whole car cheering?
Kruger National Park also has two types of roads. You have the paved roads, which are labeled as H roads, and definitely have more cars, and the gravel roads, typically called the S roads, where you can often find less cars, bumpier roads, but often the chance to come across some more intimate encounters with wildlife. H roads can also be a double-edged sword though, because although they can bring with them a lot more traffic, they can also bring with them more professional guides, who can often spot things better than you can in the brush, and also help indicate sightings ahead.
Matt, what might be underneath this bridge?
A leopard might be underneath the bridge. So everybody's gonna wait on top of the bridge and hope that he leaves the shade.
Michelle?
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. She's down the water.
I see it. Leopard sighting. Hell yeah. Seen the leopard.
The S roads, on the other hand, were way more winding and definitely less crowded. And as trips progressed, these ended up being our preferred roads to explore on, and we ended up having some of our favorite experiences visiting a den of hyena pups who were very curious about exploring the car.
Oh, dang it. Oh, hi.
What are you doing? Chewing on the back of the car?
He pulled off the hitch cover.
Oh, shit. These guys are, my friend, my brothers are eating your car, right?
Oh my god. Can you make them stop, please? You look young and innocent.
Regardless of what road you were on, though, sometimes timing, both when you were there and the time of day, made up all the impacts on what you ended up seeing. Like this time, when Matt and I came across a leopard all by ourselves on a major tar road.
Wow, look at that.
This huge male seemed unbothered, just hanging out casually on the side of the road, just as the sun was setting and just minutes before we had to start driving back to avoid the gates closing.
Sometimes you get a sighting and there's tons of cars. Sometimes you get a sighting and there's nothing around.
No one here, just us and the leopard.
It's pretty good. Look, nobody here. And nobody behind us. And Matt taking a photo of a very sleepy leopard
So sleepy.
on the side of the road.
Being photographers, Matt and Michelle also enjoyed some good bird sightings, like this lilac-breasted roller.
100.
Yeah, that's optimal.
Back to bird shots, where Matt and Michelle are now taking photos of rollers. Birding continues. Look at these hardcore.
On this trip, we also had some pretty good luck with owl sightings, having the opportunity to see this eagle owl in the grasslands near Satara, as well as some more owls further south near Lower Sabi Rest Camp.
Matt, what is it?
Owl. It's another owl.
One other uniqueness about this trip and this time of year was that we were in this park during the very beginning of the rainy season, which meant that while we were there, babies were being born. This was most highlighted by the very large number of baby impalas being born literally the week we were in the park.
Their ears are huge.
Wow, they are stinking cute. Good job, moms. Some cute babies.
Not to be outdone though, there were also several terrific baby elephant sightings, including this baby, less than 1 year old, hanging underneath its mother, drinking from a water hole instead of a dry riverbed, pulling water out with its trunk while its baby is trying all it can do to climb itself into the water hole. Something the mother is very much trying to keep it away from, for risk of the baby elephant getting stuck inside the hole. It's these kinds of moments where I really enjoy doing a self-drive, where you have the opportunity to sit at the sighting for as long as you want and watch the interactions between the wildlife. Hands down though, our greatest sighting this trip with babies was our baby lion cub sighting, where we found a mother and her 2 cubs in the middle of a riverbed during one of our early morning game drives.
Oh my god, I just got the stretch.
Chris, you have to be filming this.
Matt's got it.
Okay.
Still enjoying the coolness of the early morning, it was really exciting to see these lions so active in the riverbed.
It's quite cute. There's no coffee this morning, but this is doing the trick.
It's on sightings like these where Matt and Michelle's long-range lenses really came in handy, helping to close the distance between us on the bridge and the lines down below.
I can almost hear him going, Mom, Mom, hey Mom, 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 hey Mom. What?
And my safari driver skills were put to the test when the lioness and her cubs decided to come out of the riverbed and cross the road for denser brush in search of shade as the temperature rose. In just a few short minutes, they disappeared into the bush, and if you went back to that bridge even 5 minutes later, there would be a trace of them. It was just a reminder of how quickly these sightings can happen in this area when you have animals on the move, and how luck plays a big part when you're coming across a great sighting. During our time in Kruger, we stayed in the southern and central parts of the park. And throughout the park, the government operates gated camps where you can eat, sleep, and refuel for the next day. We'd initially planned to camp our way through the parks, but after a very hot day of driving with a midday siesta in our car, we decided to pick a pair of rooms for Matt's birthday and never looked back.
Matt, how do you feel?
I feel like it's my birthday!
What we get you for your birthday?
You got me on Thunderstorm.
We're getting to sleep at our own chalets tonight. And on a rainy day. Wow.
That thunder is so loud.
All right.
It's gonna be pretty hard to make a barbecue tonight.
Did you know there's a song about this?
What?
The rains in Africa.
Oh, nice.
Everyone's in good spirits with the bungalows.
Come on.
Where's the keys?
I want to see the inside.
All the camps we stayed at were well run and had everything you needed, including shops and restaurants located inside most of the camps. One of our favorite 2 restaurants had to be Cattle Barons, located at Skakusa and Satara rest camps, and the even more popular Mug and Bean, which had a great view of the river while you ate at Lower Sabi rest camp.
That's gross.
The great part about all these rest camps being in the middle of the park was that anytime you were sitting there, you had a chance to see some animals, like these elephants who were drinking and wading through the river heading to the other side. And even though we ate most of our lunches in the camp restaurants, typically for dinner we had Matt as our braai chef.
I am cook. Big braai guy.
Braai is the South African term for grilling, and it's a huge thing in this part of the world. You could find braais all over Kruger. Matt was our braai chef for each of the nights, cooking on both the traditional South African braai, as well as on an electric braai during our stay at Nakulu tented camp, where we had a chance to sleep in a set of unfenced luxury tents near the Lower Sabi River, which was a really great experience. One other super helpful amenity that all the camps had was the latest sightings board.
What's the question?
What's the board?
What does it look like, the board? It's got a name. I'm not going to explain that.
It's a good take.
After every drive, people would often get out of their vehicles and use various colored magnetic squares to indicate the location of an animal that they had seen that day. This was particularly helpful as a self-driver to help plan your upcoming drives.
Did you know
Don't
I spent a few minutes
You're ruining their entire board.
thinking about how they moved all these from yesterday today, and then it occurred to me, like, in Vision, they actually just did this.
That's awesome.
That's super smart.
Yeah.
Nearby the camps, there were also several places to hang out, including the Lake Panic bird hides. Personal favorites of both Matt and Michelle, you could stay hidden out of sight inside of these wooden structures near watering holes located throughout the park. As long as you stayed quiet, the animals didn't know you were there, and it provided a great opportunity for photos of animals in an undisturbed environment. The hides made a great place to hang out in the middle of the day and provided some refuge from the heat. Also, if you spent enough time there, you'd never know who would come by for a drink. We ended up spending a total of 9 days in the bush, exploring Kruger, and it really was a phenomenal trip. We had a great time driving ourselves around with 2 drives a day and definitely felt like our spotting skills improved over time. Michelle flew out a couple days earlier than Matt and I, leaving us with a few additional days to explore the bush.
Hey Matt, you saw something we couldn't effectively get on video. What'd you see?
I saw a leopard chase down an impala. It wasn't fast enough, but they were both pretty fast. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen on safari. All the big cats are usually sleeping. This guy was running. It was cool.
Matt and I also spent our last few days tracking and eventually finding wild dogs. It took a lot of driving and a lot of time checking various latest sightings boards to find some trends of where they were being spotted, but it was a great way to end our trip.
Matt and I are closing this out. Matt, any closing statements?
The animals are great. They're all my best friends. I'll miss them.
All true facts. I think we've had a successful drive. Lions, leopards, wild dogs, as you can see behind us. And some good sightings overall. So overall, great trip. Self-drive, definitely an adventure. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And after that, Matt and I flew to Cape Town to end our time in South Africa, having a great time eating and exploring our way through the city.
Hello, Matt and I are currently hanging on the top of Table Mountain in Cape Town on the last leg of our trip here in South Africa. And I think there's only one way to end this trip for the 2 of us. And let's cue that now. Goodbye. See you all later.
All right, Matt. There's all right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Very cool. Thanks, man. Oh, hell yeah, that was fun.